This weekend, the StarCityGames.com Open Series is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm here with Invitational Qualifier Coordinator Jason Reedy to talk about the event we're running this weekend. So, if we want to get into town early, where are we going to go play F&M?
F&M, we're going to go brawl at Yada Quest.
Oh.
It's at 7607 Hamilton Avenue. It's in Cincinnati. They've run invitational qualifiers. They've had some great events, and it's going to be a good time.
Excellent.
Come and get some pre-event tuning in testing for your deck.
The tournament site itself is the Sharonville Convention Center.
Right. There's an East and a West Hall, and we're actually in both of them.
Both.
Yeah.
So plenty of room for everyone.
Plenty of space.
At every tournament site, we've got the food problem. So we're going to go ahead and cover where you can find food near the Sharonville Convention Center. If you go north on Kemper if you go north on Chester and take a left on Kemper, you can find pretty much everything that's fast food and a few sit-down restaurants.
Yeah, but you can go south if you're looking for something a little bit more upscale. Go south on Sharon. You'll find stuff like Ruby Tuesdays, Cracker Barrel, that kind of thing. Not like fine dining, but something you can get a nice sit-down meal.
Good after-tournament meal.
Right, for sure.
We've also got some ultras showing up at our event as usual, and
we have Eric Clark, who has he does animated anime kind of full art replacements. He also does full art, like expands the card out. But he does this really cool thing, really unique. It's a blueprint where he'll take the art of the card and he'll just kind of paint it in kind of half or a full sheet and draw it up like an architect's blueprint, and it looks fantastic.
Very unique.
We also have Lindsay Burley, who does 3D altars. She makes great EDH generals. She makes tokens that are really, really cool, and even double-sided cards. So, since you have to have the checklist card anyway, you can just pull out your 3D flip card. And
All right. SCGLive, of course, will be in attendance. I won't be. Dane Young's going to be fulfilling the written duties. But on commentary, we have Jake VanLunen and Joey Pasco. Jake just covered the Richmond Open, so he'll be able to bring all of that experience into Cincinnati as well. Our hashtag for the event is going to be SCGSIN. That's CIN, not SIN.
That would be big, that's right.
Yes. Awkward. We're going to use that hashtag to do all of the discussion, and you can use it to communicate with our commentators, and we'll be communicating with you guys through it. So make sure to follow that hashtag on Twitter if you want to get all the updates. Next up, I'm going to talk some strategy for the event with Jake VanLunen, one of our commentators. All right, we're here with Jake VanLunen, one of this weekend's commentators, and we're going to start off by discussing what happened in Richmond, which Jake was also commentating. Tempered Steel took down the whole tournament, which we haven't seen a lot of that deck since the Worlds era, basically. And that deck's pretty much a block strategy, like no Dark Ascension at all. So how do you think players are going to react to that?
Well, I think it was pretty surprising that Tempered Steel did so well. But I think one of the major reasons that happened was that everybody was playing Ratchet Bombs, and the Tempered Steel mana curve is pretty diverse. There are zeros, ones, twos. There's a lot of stuff coming at you. And I feel like a lot of people were playing Whip Flares, which is especially weak against Tempered Steel. So Tempered Steel just had this amazing opportunity to come in and perform really well because everybody was reacting to this token strategy they expected to emerge. And the token strategy wasn't there, and instead the Tempered Steel decks just took advantage of it and ran everybody over. This week, I think we're going to start seeing more Dark Ascension cards. We're going to see cards like Huntmaster of the Fells, things like that. And where there's Huntmaster of the Fells, there's going to be Ancient Grudge. And
very true.
If people are playing 3 to 4 Ancient Grudges in their sideboard, along with cards like Ponder, Gitaxian Probe, and Thought Scour, it's not going to be odd for them to draw more than one copy in a game. And if you're playing Tempered Steel and your opponent draws 2 Ancient Grudges, you're not going to win.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
I'm not sure if Tempered Steel will be the best choice this week, but I think there was an amazing opportunity last week that people could have taken advantage of, and those who chose to play Tempered Steel were rewarded very well.
That's true, especially Nils Topengrid.
Yeah.
So you said we didn't hear a lot from tokens, especially black-white tokens, which is one of the most hyped strategies going into the tournament. Why do you think that cards like Sorin and even Huntmaster of the Fells, those cards just didn't show up in the numbers people thought they would?
I think the first issue was card availability.
Okay.
I think the first weekend it was the release date. Of the new set. So if people had wanted that card, they would have had to pre-order it. So if they had tested last minute and then wanted it last minute, there was just a very small opportunity to actually have the cards you needed for the event if you wanted to play with a lot of these new cards that are mythic rares, like Huntmaster or Sorin.
Sure.
There are other cards that people just didn't play at all that are extremely powerful and not too difficult to acquire. If you notice, in the top 8, we have a few copies of Lingering Souls in the Esper Delver deck. And that card is extremely powerful, especially in those Delver strategies. I think he may have gone a little too overboard by playing the Drogskol Captains.
Yeah.
The deck had too many 3-drops, I feel like. He had Lingering Souls, he had Geist of Saint Traft, and Drogskol Captains.
Sure.
And it's hard to be, effectively playing your Mana Leaks and using your Vapor Snags to their full stability if you have so many things that are just these sorcery speed 3s. So maybe that deck can be evolved to take out the Drogskol Captains and play Thought Scours. I think Thought Scour is one of the most impressive cards from Dark Ascension.
Really?
Ben Isger, who made it to the finals in
Yes.
Richmond, was playing Thought Scour in his Delver deck. And since then, I've tried Thought Scour in a number of different decks, and I've learned that it's very, very good. It makes cards like Grim Lavamancer much stronger. It's very good with Snapcaster Mage. It's very good with anything with Flashback. Post-board, if we're bringing in Ancient Grudges, oftentimes, you don't really need to flashback an Ancient Grudge against a sword deck because you kill a sword, and then that's kind of the end of the problem until they draw another one. They're only playing 2 to 3 copies. So a lot of the time what you want to do is you want to ponder, and then you can leave the Ancient Grudge on the top of your library, and then you use Thought Scour, and you mill it, and you're essentially drawing 2 cards for 1 blue mana. Okay. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
It also works really well with Snapcaster Mage, Rune Chanter's Pike, again, Lavamancer. It's a card that we're going to see a lot more of.
You're expecting Thought Scour to be good in multiple strategies, not even just these Delver decks, but just a few different decks.
I think people will start playing Thought Scour in almost everything that plays blue.
So if you were sleeving up 75 to play in a tournament this weekend, what 75 would you want to sleeve up?
I would play Rug.
Rug.
There was a Rug deck that came in 27th place in Richmond.
Okay.
It was very unique. I've been looking at that deck list a lot, and I've changed that deck list quite a bit. I think the interaction of Snapcaster Mage and Huntmaster of the Fells is extremely strong. Cards like Daybreak Ranger are very well positioned. I think there's a lot to be said about a strategy like that right now.
Okay, what are some of the changes you made to that list then?
I'm playing a lot more cantrips. I'm playing 4 Ponders. I'm playing 4 Thought Scours.
Okay, so you're
I'm
smoothing
even playing a
it out.
Jataxian Probe. I'm not playing the Green Sun Zenith package. I'm playing 4 copies of Huntmaster of the Fells. I'm also playing 4 copies of Snapcaster Mage. I'm playing 4 Mana Leaks. I'm playing a Dissipate. I'm playing 2 Incinerates. I'm playing an Arc Trail. I'm playing 2 Daybreak Rangers. And 3 Grim Lavamancers.
Sure, so
that's the deck
mix
list.
of value cards. Yeah. There you go.
That's the main deck.
Moving on from Standard, we're going to talk about some Legacy now. Burn won for the second time in a row this weekend, and I don't think anyone was really expecting that.
Yeah, I certainly was not expecting Burn to win again. Right. I think one of the major issues there was that people overreacted to Dredge's newfound power with Faithless Looting.
Sure.
I got the opportunity to speak with R&D's Zach Hill, and Zach told me that the problem with Dredge isn't so much how powerful it is, it's just whether or not people play sideboard hate. And he understands that Faithless Looting makes the deck much more powerful, but he claims that if people play the right sideboard hate, it doesn't matter how powerful Dredge becomes, it's just going to lose to those cards anyway. People had 7 to 10 cards in some cases against Dredge in their sideboards in this tournament. Nobody had anything against Burn, even though it won the week before. We didn't see any cards like Chill, we didn't see any Warmths. And Warmth
Old school.
will crush Red.
Yes.
The issue with Chill, of course, is that they can Pyroblast it.
Yep.
But Pyroblast costs 3 mana when you target a Chill, to be fair.
True.
And when they're paying 3 mana, you can
get in time to squeak
you
in
can
with your Tarmogoyfs or
counter it in
Nimble
different ways.
whatever,
Yeah. You can find opportunities to spell stutter sprite it and actually get to counter things with spell stutter sprite because you have a Chill. And those types of things are, it's very easy to beat a red deck if you want to.
Sure.
It doesn't require much sideboard space. If you're playing cards like Brainstorm, if you're playing Enlightened Tutors, you can make your deck beat Burn with very little opportunity cost. Like you're only investing maybe 2 or 3 sideboard cards, and you'll beat it a huge percentage of the time. I wouldn't expect it to do well again, but it's Burn. So every time people start leaving the sideboard cards out of their decks,
it'll pop in.
It can sneak in there and win an event. Yeah.
Sure. Echoing the previous point, there was a fair bit of Dredge at the tournament, but it did not do very well. Like, it was eliminated pretty quickly from contention in most cases, if I recall. And I guess better bullets in your glass cannon, just still a glass cannon.
You have this deck that's so strong, and with Faithless Looting, the deck wins on turn 2 an absurd percentage of the time. But if your opponent starts with a Leyline of the Void in play, you don't do anything.
Yep.
Your plan is, just draw go until you hit like a chain of vapor. Sometimes you have the chain of vapor, but then you're playing around counter magic.
Sure.
Your opponent just holds forces and things like that. It's very difficult.
Before we end, do you have any predictions for Legacy in Cincinnati?
I would expect Blue-White Blade to do really well. The Rug Delver decks aren't playing Punishing Fire anymore in their main decks or sideboards.
Sure.
And I feel like they've somehow found a way to make their Blue-White Blade matchup bad. And that doesn't seem like a good place for it to be. I think Blue-White Blade is one of the two strongest strategies in Legacy. I think the Rug Delver decks have proven themselves to be right up there also.
Yep.
But if the Rug Delver decks don't have Punishing Fires, they don't beat the Blue-White Blade decks. And thinking about it, the Blue-White Blade decks don't really lose to anything except Rug Delver. So if they're beating Rug Delver, that's kind of scary. It's also blue-white, so you can make it beat burn pretty easily.
That's true. So that's our call, I guess. Blue-White Stoneblade.
It's my guess.
We'll see you guys in Cincinnati. Jake's going to be commentating with Joey Pasco, and until then,
be well.